By all means, 1 star is not a bad rating. We really stress the fact that it's not just the score. This is an easy way to understand kind of this context of what options are out there for you to do on your field and how much you're doing. But really, a 1 star means that you're interested and you're trying to get better. So any star rating is a good rating.
Welcome to NCAT's Voices from the Field. I'm Audrey Kolde, a sustainable ag specialist, and today we're digging into a rising program, Saving Tomorrow's Agricultural Resources, or STAR for short. I love this concept. Rate your farming practices from 1 to 5 based on how well you're supporting soil health and sustainability and giving very clean and clear paths for farmers to show how not to just stay there, but to continue to move forward and grow their soil health all the way to 5 stars. But what does this look like for farmers? So I've invited here today a STAR expert, Jake Deutmeyer from STAR. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
To get us started, tell us how STAR came to be, why it was needed, and who was involved in developing it, and what gaps or problems in conservation programs you were hoping it would fill.
Yeah, STAR actually got started in Champaign County, Illinois in 2017. There were 2 producers there that were on their local soil and water conservation district board that were trying to figure out ways that they could get more farmers involved in trying to advance progress towards their nutrient loss reduction strategy there. And so they really thought up this idea of having a rating system that could be clear and easy and could be kind of demonstrated with a STAR rating. So they came up with this framework. They pitched it to the State Department of Ag in Illinois. They got a lot of traction. And then from there, it kind of spread elsewhere. So Colorado Department of Ag heard about it shortly after. They helped to get us really launched nationwide through a climate smart commodity grant. And then from there, we established our national non-for-profit, so National STAR. So that brought myself on board about 2 years ago. It brought our executive director, Caroline Wade, on board. And both of us have background working in carbon programs prior. And so we brought some experience seeing some challenges measuring carbon on some of these projects, and really wanted something that was just more simple for the producer, that was grassroots, and that was more focused on just promoting conservation and rather than focusing on some of the outcomes that were really pushed.
Oh, that's cool. I love the fact that it was started by farmers and it really has had that as its root, that it's by farmers and for farmers. And like you said, even now, y'all are focused really on usability and simplicity, not overcomplicating something that could be very complicated.
Definitely.
So as STAR is, rates these farmers based on these conservation practices and measurable outcomes, how does that scoring system work, and how does it help the farmers set these clear step-by-step goals for improving soil health?
Yeah, so STAR really differs from state to state. We're all about setting up based on the local context. So and the way we start in a particular state is that we try to involve all the major players in the state's agricultural landscape through a science committee. And so that's usually a bit smaller and mainly pulls in the land-grant universities, research entities, farmers. And so they're helping kind of talk about what are the major local resource concerns. So, perhaps in the West, they're focused on drought and water quantity. Perhaps in the Midwest, it's more about nutrients and water quality. So these groups kind of help set the context, establish what questions are going to get at that, and come up with the scoring. That's in conjunction with our own science members too, our own STAR science team. So those folks help get the form started. And then we have a steering committee that tries to pull in a bit of a bigger group. So state departments of ag, NRCS, Association of Conservation Districts, farmers themselves, universities, other non-for-profits. So we have a bit of a larger group that really takes that structure, that field form, and decides how it should be implemented in the state. And so the beauty of STAR is, it can really be set up the way we want it to be in a particular state. So some states might have a Healthy Soils Act or Healthy Soils program this can be easily tied into, and directly feed into some of the state goals. So that is the case in some states. Others might just want to kind of put it out there and see how it goes and promote it across different platforms. So the steering committee helps really get it out there. And then from there, the producer is able to sign up for it, access it on startool.ag, and go through. It's an automatic scoring system that after they answer their set of questions, then they automatically get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-star rating.
And what are a couple of the practices that you're looking at as someone that's just beginning all the way to a 5-star?
Yeah, that's really going to be specific to the state, determining kind of what the major local resource concerns are. But, in general, in the Midwest, you're going to see, a 1-star might just tried one practice, perhaps is doing more of a strip till or a minimal till versus, a 2 or 3 might have tried no-till. 3, 4, and 5 are doing many practices, so maybe not just the no-till examples I gave, but also in conjunction with cover cropping, structural practices, nutrient management, many different things like that. So it can really vary. In the West, that might incorporate also irrigation efficiencies. Some states choose to put in kind of pest management into their forms. So we really leave that up to the states to determine what is included in practices. But in general, the scoring is you can expect to get the same type of setup in each state where, 1 is just kind of exploring, trying something out. 2 is, you're getting better, you're trying a few more. 3, you've really started to do quite a few, and that's a pretty good rating. And 4, you're almost doing everything you can. And 5, you've pretty much maxed out everything you could try.
That's awesome. Yeah, just a learning curve, right? Just, we're not really looking at good or bad, just where you are in this learning process, 1st grade versus 5th grade, your reading level of the soil and the land.
Exactly. Yeah. And by all means, 1-star is not a bad rating. We really stress the fact that it's not just the score. This is an easy way to understand kind of this context of what options are out there for you to do on your field and how much you're doing. But really, a 1-star means that you're interested and you're trying to get better. So any star rating is a good rating.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. Any star rating means that you're sitting there thinking about sustainability of your resources for tomorrow. I mean,
Exactly.
as the star title is. So if you're a farmer and you're interested in joining this group and getting your star rating, what does that onboarding look like? And what kind of resources does it open the door up to?
Yeah. So producers go to startool.ag. It's a pretty simple registration process. Just need an email and a password. After they do that, they can draw their field. And so in cropland systems, the rating is a field-specific rating. So we have a producer map out a field. In certain states, they are using a paper version of the form. So they are able to do it without a mapping. They work with their local soil and water districts to do that. And then the district kind of manages the other details in the back end. But in general, a producer is going to draw their field, and then they're able to start the form and answer the questions. It usually takes maybe 10 to 20 minutes to do, so it doesn't take terribly long. And then after they get their star score, we really want them to think about next crop year. And so we do that through what we call the Conservation Innovation Plan, the CIP. And so the producer is going to go through probably another maybe 5 minutes of questions where it'll ask them first, kind of, now that we're thinking about next year, what are your goals? Are you trying to maybe get a better score? Are you trying to find technical resources? Are you trying to connect with other farmers? Are you trying to find money that's out there for other programs? Then we see kind of what are the problems on this field that you're having? Are you maybe trying to address a erosion issue, perhaps a yield issue? Then we have them look at the practices that were available in the field form and just think about it in the context of next year. So are you curious about a certain practice? Are you actually going to try a new practice next year? And then lastly, we look at what's holding them back from trying more practices. Is it equipment? Is it funds? Is it technical advice? And then based on all of those responses, we have a resource database that we have logged in all the state, federal, county resources that are out there. So that could be financial in terms of cost share programs, grant programs. It could be technical, so videos that are out there, fact sheets, anything that we could deem kind of helpful to a producer, we put in there. And then based on those responses, the producer clicks customize resources, and then they get a list of are the most relevant resources to them. And so they can save that to their field. They can look at those later. And then they have what we call the Star Navigator, is their local kind of on the ground contact that they could speak to. And so that might be different in each state, but generally it could be, the local soil and water district contact that's available, or it could be somebody at the state level that's just there. If you've got a question about this plan, if you've got a question about Star, you're able to talk to somebody. So you get a rating, you think about next year, and then you're shown resources that could help you with that plan.
That survey for resource building sounds super amazing. I love acquiring resources and, saving them. And sometimes it gets overwhelming with just which one's important for which farmers and which situation. So it sounds really amazing to be able to have just a couple questions to just be like, all right, and then we'll cut these out. And this is what really is going to help you get to the next level in this, and help narrow down those resources to ones that are really going to be highly useful. So doing that for farmers to where they don't have to look through the giant list of, I think of on ATTRA, we have like 300 publications, and it's just overwhelming,
Exactly.
And so just get it to a smaller amount that they can really, this is what you need.
Yep. Yeah, that's the goal. We're trying to make it easy for producers to think about what they could do for conservation.
So after these farmers have, gotten their star rating and are looking, on the other side of the chain, how is this rating really helping investors and supply chain partners have a clear roadmap for increasing their conservation outcomes?
Yeah, I think, we see STAR as a clear way for investors and supply chain partners to put money down to the ground to the farmer. And so we have probably our best case example right now is we have a producer rewards program through Seymour Milling Company. They're a wheat milling company that has operations in Illinois, Kentucky, and Indiana. And so they're actually using STAR as their stewardship program and paying a per acre bonus if a producer gets a 5-star rating. So they get paid right away if that's the case. Or if they get a lower score, that's okay as long as they show an improvement the following year. And so they can get paid for the increase in STAR score. So that applies for all of their wheat customers. Anything that's in their wheat rotation, they can fill out a STAR form for and get paid for. So that's kind of been our best case to give an example of how supply chain gets involved. We see certainly a bit more emphasis on kind of middle chain, smaller partners like this wheat company. We're having similar discussions with a wheat company in Washington State. So we're hoping that a similar program can be rolled out. I think this is really a good framework that just helps you tie in conservation practice adoption to your corporate goals. So we're hoping that more programs like this get expanded.
Yeah. And it seems like, you're making it really a lot similar for folks who aren't in the farming sphere, to understand, hey, this farmer is trying to improve their soil health, and like year's very understandable ways to talk about it. Like I went from 3 to 4 stars. I incorporated cover crops. Woo!
Yeah.
Uh, and I think y'all said y'all had a sign that they can put in their field as well, and
Yeah,
just get all the brags whenever other farmers see the sign.
exactly. Yep. Yeah. Producer, after they get their score, they just click a button and they can get a sign shipped to them with their star rating. So we've seen, especially in Illinois, a lot of folks really like that sign to put out in their field.
Oh yeah, we got to show off for the other farmers sometimes.
Yep.
And so as you've seen all these farmers over, from Illinois to Washington and down, what kind of farmers have you seen are a really good fit for this program so far, and the widespread adoption of it?
Yeah, I think this is kind of the beauty of STAR. We're really meant for any type of farm, whether you're big, small. We try to adopt our farms to the local context and think about what crop systems to support. So it really depends on what state you're in, what forms are available to you. But in general, we're seeing a lot of widespread adoption. Illinois has done some really interesting research digging into the stats from our portal. They have got a little more experience under their belt than other states, so they looked at some of the data on farmers that did start in 2023 and then did it the following year in 2024. And they saw that almost half of them got a better score the following year. Very few actually declined in score. And so we're seeing nearly all producers stay at that rating or improve. And so I think that's a really good thing. We're seeing maybe a bit of a challenge for larger farmers to get either a 1 or 5-star rating. I think that makes sense just because the larger farms have maybe what they're doing is they've got more experience and it's harder to take on a brand new practice. There's a lot more risk. And so we see those farms tend to sit more in the middle of the bell curve. So I think those are some interesting little facts that we saw out of the data in Illinois, but we're getting a lot more data now with more states enrolled and hopefully a year from now we can have a lot more similar takeaways from all of our states.
I mean, as you said, since every state is so unique and is so customized for the needs of that community, I imagine, there's not one farmer that fits it because every farmer across the state, they're really trying to customize it to what that state produces really well. And, whether it's the grains in the, Midwest to, I don't know, more so, lumber, something else in, another area. So,
Exactly.
yeah, I could see that. Also, you said half of the farmers increased in between. That is incredible.
Yeah.
That
Yep.
is a brag.
48%.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we're really excited to see that. I think that's just kind of showing that once producers kind of get started on their conservation journey, they see a lot more willingness to progress forward. And so, again, that's kind of what we mean with the 1-star not being a bad thing. It's a way to get your foot in the door.
And it also just shows like, oh, if I add this, the clarity of improving the soil. If I add this practice, I can increase. And so, again, such a brag and like of the fact that it is somewhat, it is very useful tool. Like,
Yeah.
it's doing its job. And so with these farmers and improving, what other kind of surprising improvements have y'all heard about?
Yeah, I think as I mentioned, we're still getting a lot of more statistical data as we enroll more farmers across other states. But I think there's a few interesting anecdotes, and one I like to really talk about across all of our operations is that we've got one absentee landowner in the state of Iowa who retired from farming. He's renting out his farm to a leasee, and he's really trying to make sure that the soil health is maintained across his lands. And so he's been involved with STAR. He helped bring it to Iowa, and he actually pulled it into a term in the lease with the renting farmer. And so it was a really interesting concept that kind of made the light bulbs go off for us that, this besides just being a curious tidbit of info for producers just thinking about conservation, it's actually a good guidance tool for landowners to make sure that soil health is protected. So we've done different ways to incorporate that into the STAR tool. We've built a landowner report. If we get more absentee landowners doing that type of thing, a farmer could just very quickly print out a report that shows what they did this year, what their STAR score was. And then on the other side too, if a renting farmer is having success with conservation and is really proud about that, they can use this report to go out and show potential renting landowners and say, hey, look at my track record. I really care about the soil health. So that anecdote just kind of shifted our mentality on the ways that STAR could be used with renting and landowning farmers.
Yeah, that is such a creative use of this tool for sure. I mean, like all landowners, they want to make sure that, their land continues to have good soil for the next farmers and generational farmers. And so you could see it, it's all in the name, you're saving, the resources for tomorrow. So that is such an interesting way to utilize this program. And so as like the farmers and states are expanding, y'all said y'all went from just like a state specific program to more nationally 2 years ago. And so you're rolling out these states and really honing in on each state's needs. What's next whenever you're looking at the growth of the STAR program and what's coming up?
Yeah, definitely. I think it depends on each state. Every state's got their own list of things of what's coming next. I think in terms of new states, we've got Missouri just launched a new form. This is their very first field form, so we're excited about that. New Mexico is set to launch next month with a cropland form, and then also I think I mentioned we're building our grazing lands form. And then Utah will also have that hopefully next month. And then the grazing lands form will also be expanded to Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, Washington. And then in talking with a lot of farmers in Missouri, there's a lot of grazing land there too. So we're going to try that out in Missouri. So we've got a lot of new operations, a lot of new field forms. And then our existing states that have had more establishment, Illinois, they've got the SEMA program going strong. That's enrollment is wrapping up at the end of the month. They're really tied into their Partners for Conservation state cost share program. So we've seen a lot of success through that. Washington, I mentioned, might hopefully get a similar wheat producer rewards program through STAR. So there's a lot of developments in each state. And, we're hoping that we get more fundraising too to help expand our national efforts and just keep growing.
Just to clarify, the grazing program is something that is new for the entire STAR program?
Yeah, the only experience a state has had through STAR, at least in grazing forms, Colorado put out a very simple grazing survey that did not produce a STAR rating, but it was a way that they wanted to capture grazing efforts in their state. So besides that, this is a brand new effort. And so that will be, again, launched hopefully in a month from now. It's a big undertaking. We really, throughout all our time with the cropland forms, we've spent a lot of time testing the form, making sure that it's user-friendly, quick, and simple for producers to use. And so we'll be spending a lot of extra time to make sure that's also the case for grazing lands.
Yeah, so that's a lot of growth for just a couple of months, adding new states and then adding grazers, so doubling the number of farmers that have access to these resources. So yeah we're a little busy.
Yeah, we're excited though. We have Anna Claire Monlazoon is leading that development, and she's great. She's got a lot of experience under her belt working with ranchers, and just excited to see the work expand to that area.
Yeah. So as farmers are looking to, go ahead and register and do the survey for STAR, where can they get more information about it and where can they sign up?
Yeah. So first, if you're just trying to see what what is STAR? Maybe you want to read more about who we are, what we do, what the benefit is. You can read with different pages available on our homepage at starconservation.org. And so that's a good first stop. If you're ready to fill out a form, those are live on startool.ag. And so again, it's a simple registration process. You just need an email and a password. And then as long as we are active in your state, once you draw your field, that form will pop up that you can fill out.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you so much for sitting down and talking with me and just, again, explaining this program. I'm so excited for it in the way that it is really so user-friendly and simple for farmers. And it's, really explaining soil health and sustainability in a way that is so user-friendly for us. And I'm just so excited to see it continue to grow and expand and the effect it will have on farmers all over. So I appreciate y'all so much and I'm really excited to see the next steps.
Yeah, thank you. We really appreciate the space you've given us to talk about STAR, and we're excited for the future.
That's it for this episode. Thanks for listening. Additional information about this episode and related resources can be found at attra.ncat.org. Don't miss an episode. Subscribe to Voices from the Field wherever you get your podcasts. ATTRA, Voices from the Field, is produced by the National Center for Appropriate Technology, headquartered in Butte, Montana. It's supported by the USDA Rural Business Cooperative Service as part of NCAT's ATTRA Sustainable Agriculture Program. Any opinions, findings, conclusions, or recommendations expressed in this recording are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of the USDA or NCAT. We'll catch you again next week, and until then, keep on farming.